Hey guys, what's up? It's Biscuit Horror Reviews. I'm here to review of a 1991 horror comedy film titled Teenage Exorcist. This film has, it even has its own hair metal theme song over the opening credits. That's the kind of shit I love. Before I get into the review, I'm gonna drink, well maybe not this whole thing, but I'm gonna drink this monkey head vodka. As you can see, it's still sealed. Just so you know, this is legit. Do I just kind of? Oh, it's got a little plastic top on it. It's like those it's like Indiana Jones with the monkey brains. You guys remember that one? Yeah, I know. Ooh, yeah, this is vodka, all right. You know what? Let's just... That's a decent amount of vodka. Not bad. Let's add a little... You know... A little something to spice it up. Alright. Oh, fuck. That's a bit much. Alright, let's hurry up and start this review before I start slurring my speech. So, this is a movie about a grad student who moves into a mansion for some reason, and demons start fucking with her, and then she ends up possessed, and this results in a bunch of wacky scenarios involving a pizza guy, a priest, her lover, her sister, and her sister's husband. Now, how a college student can afford to live in a mansion, that's a bit much. You know, I guess since this is a movie, suspension of disbelief and everything, but that's a little too much if you ask me. I'm just gonna go ahead and sit that monkey head right there for the hell of it. So, first things first, Michael Berryman is in this movie. The legendary poster mutant from The Hills Have Eyes. I got the poster for The Hills Have Eyes right here. I got the man's autograph on my copy of The Hills Have Eyes right here. And he's in this movie. He has a very small role in this movie. He appears at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie, respectively. And this is a role where he's just an average dude, which is pretty cool to see, honestly, because usually you see him as, like, a mutant or some kind of serial killer. Like, for instance, in The Devil's Reject, when he had that cameo in there, he talked with a pretty gravelly sounding voice. As somebody who has met Michael Berryman, I can confirm he really doesn't have a gravelly voice. He's a very soft-spoken, very cool, very nice guy. So it's very interesting to see him do a role in a horror film where he's just a normal guy and not some mutant. It's actually pretty cool to see. And with his average speaking voice, he actually gives a pretty good performance and manages to be pretty damn funny with his delivery of a couple of the jokes he's given. That being said, the rest of the acting in the film is pretty much forgetful as hell. Nothing to write home about. The writing is pretty much the same. It's, you know, it's not necessarily bad, but it's that kind of horror comedy writing that is like, it isn't extremely niche to the point that it's like The Greasy Strangler, but it's not like super safe to where it's at the point of like, I don't know, but it's not, you know, it's not like normal sterilized humor, nor is it super niche absurd humor. It's semi-absurdist, kind of like slightly parody-esque writing when it comes to the humor. There's, you know, wordplay, puns, sight gags galore in this movie. It's not comparable to like Saturday the 14th or Student Bodies necessarily, because those movies are straight up absurd all over the place. This movie has at least somewhat of a consistent tone, and it never goes too far away from the horror elements and goes full comedy with any of its scenes, or full parody with any of the scenes. But still, from a technical standpoint, this movie's pretty well made. There's no, major fuck ups as like, you know, picture quality mess ups. The boom mic being in shot, the audio channels being messed up. It's pretty sound when it comes to the production quality. The monster effects and zombie effects are pretty decent. They aren't great, but they look fine, considering the most likely low budget of the film. I really don't have much else to say about this movie, but this is honestly a fun little flick, and I wasn't bored while watching it at all. And I've got to say, let me just, oh god, that is vodka. Fucking brass monkey over here, man. I've got to say, I'm surprised this movie doesn't have a bigger cult following, considering everything about this movie. Because this movie is like, I don't want to say it's on par with, because it is nowhere near, it isn't as good as, but the humor is kind of on par with, like it feels, I don't know how to put it into words, but it feels like the kind of horror comedy that I could compare to Blood Diner or Haunted Honeymoon, for example. Also, did I forget to mention that Eddie Deason is in this movie? If you don't know who that is, he's the voice of Mandark in Dexter's Laboratory. He was also in Laser Blast, which was a really bad 70s science fiction film. And he was in Zapped, that Scott Baio comedy from the 80s. But he's in this movie, and I think that's another thing that makes this movie worth watching, is because his character is very entertaining, and definitely helps towards the last act, especially when things start to get a little shaky. Not necessarily that the last act is bad, but he definitely helps, keep the last act entertaining. On the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 makes it like Nosferatu and 10 makes it like Peter Jackson's Brain Dead, Teenage Exorcist is probably a 1.5. Like, other than a scene in the beginning where you see a woman who, like, her throat is cut, and I think, like, down her chest is cut, I think. I can't remember exactly. But, I'm sorry, I've been drinking, guys. You know me. I have a problem. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. It's not that bad, gore-wise. There's a pretty decent amount of nudity in the film. But, the gore is really nothing too bad. Honestly, I'm surprised it doesn't have a bigger cult following. If you enjoy, if you enjoy, horror comedies like Blood Diners, I know I said this wasn't as absurd as this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Saturday the 14th, or Rock and Roll Nightmare, Haunted Honeymoon, even Student Bodies, again, not as absurd as that, but, if you enjoy those kinds of movies, this is definitely one I would say to look out for, because I'd never heard of this movie until I stumbled upon it while looking at the DVD catalog on Netflix, and I was like, Teenage Exorcist, it's from the 90s, it has fucking, Michael Berryman as Satan on the cover. I mean, he has devil horns on the DVD cover. This looks interesting, and I've got to say, the fact that I've never heard of this movie before is kind of a shame, because this is a pretty solid little horror comedy. Not perfect, and not like the best bad movie ever made or anything, but definitely very entertaining, and I would say worth a watch if you are into these kinds of movies. Yeah. If you're, into these kinds of movies, these kinds of cult films, this is definitely one I would say to check out, pick up, keep an eye out for. God, I'm pretty sure this whole movie is up on YouTube. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw it when I was finding a trailer for this movie. Either way, you should check it out. This is definitely one I would actually recommend quite a bit, I guess. Anyway, guys, this is Biscuit Boo Horror Reviews. I'm going to drink the rest of this vodka, and then I'm going to sign off. Fuck. I'm going to regret doing that later. Peace.